Welcome back to the Cash Flow Experience. I am your host for today's episode, Jen Hildebrandt. Today's episode is going to be all about the art of detachment. Now, this is a skill set that you have to learn to adapt if you want to be able to build an incredible business for yourself within any sales type capacity. Again, I have coached over 20,000 people over the last few years in the high ticket sales space, and I have really honed in on a few key components that will really help you to master this skill set. And don't get it twisted. This is a skill set, all right? And before we kind of dive into my 4-step process of learning the art of detachment and why this is so important in your business, if you want to double your cash flow this year, and trust me, you're going to want to double your cash flow this year, you're going to want to implement these 4 simple steps that I coach my personal coaching clients to implement into their business. But before we get into those 4 steps, first, what I want to do is I want to give you guys some context. I want to give you guys some context as to why this is so important and how so many people miss out on this one key step that's actually hurting their business. It's hurting their sales. It's hurting their bottom line. And it's actually a turnoff. It's literally what I call a sales turnoff. So if you're looking to 10x your cash flow this year, if you're looking to have more sales effortlessly, and if you really want to become a complete consultant and an elite closer in your industry, whatever industry you may find yourself in, then I'm definitely going to want you to like and subscribe to our channel, this podcast, and our YouTube, because we are going to be giving away so much value about these things that actually create a sales environment for you that allows you to close more deals, get more cash flow in a more effortless and feminine aligned way. So let's go ahead and dive into why this is so important and why this actually matters and how this is going to 10x your cash flow this year. So first and foremost, let's dive into some backstory, give you some context of why this is so important, especially for women entrepreneurs, closers, and CEOs. So we always teach here in my coaching containers, in my communities, my coaching personal clients, everything like that, that you have to do things from an aligned perspective. Now, men and women do things extremely differently in business. All right. So there's a lot of male coaches out there that teach sales and closing and all these different methodologies. Now, a lot of this stuff in the past has been considered mainstream, or what I would even consider bro tactics, bro marketing, bro sales, right? That is where it's highly masculine. It is highly pushy. It is highly in your face. And it's traditionally the reason why a lot of women are turned off by the concept of sales, because initially the bro marketing, the bro sales tactics, the hardcore closers that everyone has been seeing all over social media has really tainted the marketplace and made a lot of women feel like that's just not me. That's not my personality. That's not how I conduct myself. That's not how I want to do business. And that's not, the image I want to portray out here in the marketplace. Now, I typically have a closing ratio in my organization of anywhere between $3 to $5 million per month in revenue. All right. And I have closers working for me. I have leaders working for me, and I have a team and a collective. So I've trained tens of thousands of salespeople. So collectively, I realize that men and women definitely close differently. Okay. So this is going to be more for the woman who wants to have an aligned process and needs a step-by-step guided way to conduct herself as an elite professional in that marketplace. Okay. So again, we are living in a very busy, fragmented social media marketplace. I completely fully understand that. But I want you to understand, as a female CEO, closer, entrepreneur, there are still really key components and things that you can do to separate yourself completely from all the noise out there and truly put yourself into a category of one. So today, in this video and in this tutorial, that's exactly what we are going to be talking about. All right. And if you're catching this on the podcast, again, these concepts I live by. I've lived by them for the last 22 years that I've been in sales. And this is why I have been a top performer, a top achiever, an MVP, a President's Club winner, a trip winner, and a multi-million-dollar income earner in everything I've ever decided to attach my name to. So let's talk about this, okay? So again, what we're doing today is we're really learning how to align our feminine energy, our feminine nervous system in a way that allows us to close more sales without stepping outside of our normal way of being as a feminine soft life entrepreneur. So let's talk a little bit more deeply about these 4 key components and these 4 steps that I teach and I coach inside of my community. So the first thing is we have to learn and master, again, the art of detachment. Okay, the art of detachment is kind of like your step 1 of understanding who are you in this conversation and who is your prospect. So let's really quickly kind of break down why this matters, who you are in this conversation versus who they are in this conversation, so you have context and understanding why this is actually so important. And if you miss the mark on this one, you're going to miss out on tens of thousands of monthly revenue and dollars in cash flow for yourself simply because you didn't take the time to understand why this actually matters. Okay, so the art of detachment is you understanding that no matter what conversation you find yourself in within sales, whether it's on a Zoom call, whether it's in person, whether it's over text or in a DM, you have to first walk into that conversation completely detached. That doesn't mean you're not there to listen. That doesn't mean that you're not there to serve and find a solution for that person. It simply means you walk into any sales discussion and conversation as a neutral consultant. I'm going to repeat that, a neutral consultant. What's a neutral consultant? What does that even mean, Jen? What does that mean? A neutral consultant is simply someone that does not walk in to the conversation with any type of high-low energy. No high-low energy, meaning you are not too hype, you are not too in someone's face, you are not too, oh my gosh, rah, 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 this, that, and the third, right? You don't come with that fake commercial energy, okay? And when I think of commercial, I think of those infomercials from the 90s where people were trying to sell you things on the Home Shopping Network. Okay, don't bring that cheese ball energy. You want to remain neutral, always neutral. All right. And the reason why we want to maintain that neutrality in our energy on any sales discussion, conversation, intake call, strategy call, discovery DM, discovery, whatever you want to call it, is because we need to maintain a balance within us. And the reason why this is so important is because energy transfers. Whether you're on a call, face-to-face, Zoom, DM, energy is constantly being exchanged in the sales process. That's all it is. It's an energetic exchange, okay? Now, if your energy is too high, your prospect is going to pick up on that and they're going to feel ick. They're going to feel turned off and they're not going to want to deal with you because they can feel that there is an agenda. You never want your prospect to feel that you have an agenda. If you do have an agenda, they're going to feel it because your energy is going to be bringing that forward in that sales conversation. Okay, so the first step is neutrality and neutral energy, step 1. So before I get on any sales calls, I always review all the information on the intake sheet, all the application data, and I open the conversation neutral without prejudgment, without projecting any of my thoughts or my past calls onto this individual. I come in with a completely clean slate and brand new neutral energy. And this leads me into step number 2 in this process. The reason why this neutral energy is so important, it's going to help you close more sales and get more cash flow, is because it makes you a better communicator and a better listener. The highest paid sales professionals and elite closers in the world are the best communicators and the best listeners. You want to start to think of yourself as their advocate because you are their advocate. Without a solution to their most pressing problems, their life situation, their cash flow issue, they will not be able to move forward and accomplish their goals and their dreams. So your job is to bring in 1, the neutral energy. 2, it is to listen and communicate properly so you can actually hear what they want to buy. You can actually hear their buying triggers. You can hear what they're actually looking to solve for without projecting anything onto them because you're actively listening throughout this entire process. So active listening and proactive communication, once you've actually fully heard and really understood what your prospect is actually saying, what they want to buy, and what their current problems and most pressing issues are at the current moment. Which leads me to number 3 in this process is no sales breath or hidden agenda. Okay, we kind of covered this, but we're going to talk a little bit more about why this is so clutch and so important in these fast-paced online sales environments. If you have a hidden agenda, meaning if you come into the call or the DM or the conversation with any agenda, they will feel it and it feels like sales breath. Okay, I always say that. I'm like, don't have sales breath. Why? Because those are the people you run away from in the car lot. Those are the people you run away from in the department store. Why? Because no one wants to feel trapped in a sales conversation. Everyone wants to buy. Nobody wants to be sold. Let's be real, okay? Everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold. I love to buy things, but I don't want to be sold. So if you come to me with that sales breath, that feature and benefit dump, that I need to make my monthly quota energy, that I'm desperate to make a sales closed energy, I'm not buying from you. Not only am I not buying from you, I'm walking away because no one wants to feel high pressure. Everyone wants to feel like the sale was their decision. And that's empowerment. All right. This is really important that you understand this because once you learn the art of detachment, you understand that the sales process and the sales transaction is really about empowering your prospect and your buyer to make the right decision for themselves. And in this process, you are simply the consultant that is there to help guide them through this process step by step by step. And this is where your superpower kicks in because if there's no sales breath, if there's no hidden agenda, if there's no thing you're trying to do like make money, right? Then naturally you will be in a state of neutrality, which is that cool, calm, and collected energy, the consultant elite energy. You will naturally be communicating and listening for cues and being able to fully hear what your prospect is telling you, what they need, and you will not have a hidden agenda. You will not have sales breath, and you will not come across as desperate, and that is empowering to your prospect and double empowering for yourself. So let's get into number 4, which is building trust and credibility out of your heart of service. This is the number one thing I constantly coach in my elite sales programs is that sales is not sales. Sales is service. And most people don't want to admit that because, again, we have a lot of these male-dominated sales programs out there that are talking about close now, always be closing, push, get the no, go for the no. I say don't go for the no, go for the transformation and go for the service of your prospect. Meaning make sure you fully understand what they're looking for. Because again, this decision for them to buy, join your coaching program, buy your high ticket item, get into your organization, whatever it is, at the end of the sales conversation needs to feel like it authentically and within their own personal decision-making process and within their own alignment of solving their current problems and current situations and cash flow issues. Out of that discussion, you helped them to make the best decision possible for themselves, which in this instant is probably enrolling in your program, getting into your high ticket business, getting into your low ticket business, or buying your high ticket offer, whatever that looks like for you. You build trust and credibility like this when you remain neutral, listen and communicate properly, actively listening. You don't have sales breath or an agenda. You come in truly with that consultant's heart to literally see if this individual is a fit for your program, your product, or to enroll in your business. And at that point, you're mutually coexisting in aligned energy in the feminine flow of it, that you're mutually making a decision together that this is a fit for both of you, which is your coaching or your program or your business model. And it is a fit for this other individual on the other end of this Zoom call or DM, that this will actually solve their problem for them, which is what we're looking for. In sales, you shouldn't be looking for everyone. It's the biggest lie people have been told and sold over the years is that you're looking for everyone. No, you're not. You are looking for the people that you can actually help solve their most pressing problems in their life at the current situation, right? So that is how you stay detached. And again, the art of detachment is a very overlooked skill in the sales world, but I promise you this. Practicing the art of detachment and getting really cool, calm, and collected with your own energy will not only 10x your sales, but it will make it so that your trust and your credibility factor goes up 10x in the marketplace, where you have other people that are doing high pressure sales, not listening to their prospects, don't care about results driven, processes for them getting into or enrolling into a program. And at the end of the day, they're doing tactics and techniques that are ultimately going to backfire long term because they're not based on their prospects making informed consulted decisions and empowering their prospects or their customers to buy from them out of their own wants, needs, and desires. They're high pressure tactics, and we'll cover in another topic, in another episode, another video, what these hardcore closer topics look like and what these techniques are that are floating around in the marketplace, which I call scarcity closing tactics, right? By now, the cart is closing 24 hours, the price goes up. I'm not with any of that stuff, you guys. And again, in 6 years of being in the high ticket online industry, producing over $50 million in sales a year, I have never once had to use any of those tactics, any of those tricks, or use any of those methodologies to make people buy my high ticket program. So in our next video, we will be covering that. And again, from the heart, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing to our podcast and YouTube channel. And please comment, let us know your thoughts below. And also consider sharing this with a friend who's a business owner, a CEO in high ticket, or has their own program or course. With that being said, I can't wait to see you guys soon in the next video and episode.